The Trojans are already 2 men down, and it could have an effect on the season that hasn't even kicked off yet.
You are Locked On USC, your daily podcast on the USC Trojans, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, welcome on back. Got a bonus episode. Not good news, but we're going to talk about it. I'm your host, Marc Kulkin. Jahkeem Stewart, he's down. I've been told USC is saying he's going to miss the first 3 games. When the news was first reported, I was told 3 weeks. Semantics, who knows? We're going to talk about Jahkeem Stewart, foot injury, same foot as last year, happened again. We haven't even kicked off the season yet. So, how's that for a weekend buzzkill? USC leaked a picture of Thanos. He was wearing his walking boot. He had a pair of crutches with him. This was at the end of Friday's practice. So the end of mock game week, essentially. Sophomore, second-year player, Jahkeem Stewart, defensive tackle. He's going to miss several weeks with a foot injury. That we know for sure. The duration, they say the first 3 games. Hopefully, I'm assuming it's going to be 3 weeks. I think you want to get him in that last non-conference game, so his first appearance isn't on the road in a conference opener, going against a Rutgers team that USC should beat. But Rutgers has a very big and powerful offensive line. They like to run the ball. I don't know if you want his first real course of contact to come against a bunch of 320-pound dudes trying to lean into him and stress that foot even more. Anyways, we'll find out. He's going to miss the first couple games, that's for sure. It is the same foot that affected him in 2025. Stress fracture, broken bone, whatever you want to call it, same foot. And you're thinking, oh, Mark, USC leaked it? Yes, USC leaked the information, and it was strategic. So you have Gavin Morris, one of USC's associate athletic directors. He's a player relations guy, really good guy. He posted a story on his Instagram page. And while USC, the team, they were with the Spirit of Troy, the band, they were, Jade Mayaba was up on the ladder with a sword. They were saluting the parents who were there in getting to watch their first practice of fall camp. There's a picture right there, plain as day. Jahkeem, crutches under his arms, and he's got the walking boot. So yeah, the reason why they leaked it, again, you had the practice, you had the band, Mayava on the ladder. I've already gone through all that. Salute to Troy was later that evening. Everyone was going to see it. And once again, you've got parents who are watching practice, and even though they're told, hey, what you see here stays here, the Vegas rules in effect. By the way, I'll be talking about my trip to Vegas. Spent a couple of days there to watch the Bishop Gorman take on St. John Bosco. That was an interesting game. Talk about that later on. Also, what is USC going to do about this injury? That's in the next segment. Stay tuned. Like I said, bonus segment for you. You're going to enjoy the show. Not the news, but the information. And because you're watching on YouTube and you haven't subscribed yet, and it's free, click that red subscribe button. Smash that thumbs up because you love it, and hit that bell notification. That way you're not going to miss any information, any news. This is your inside source for everything USC Trojans. Football, basketball, everything. Okay, got that out of the way. So again, Salute to Troy was later that evening. Everyone was going to see it. So that's why USC leaked the information. They knew that once the parents saw it, it was going to slowly leak out. Oh my God, did you see what happened? It's the nature of the beast. That's how things work around, especially with social media. So Jahkeem, he's expected to, be out the first 3 games of the season. And that's according to wersc.com. So when you're done watching this episode, if I miss anything, and I won't miss anything, but you can fill in the blanks with even more information with all the content that we have for you over there. And don't forget to take advantage of our subscription special that was got going on, $30, full year. It's going on through the end of August. Don't wait. Okay. So everyone anticipates the first 3 games. I'm going to be a little bit more proactive, a little bit more positive. I think he's going to miss the first 2 games for sure, and you're going to get some limited action in that game against Louisiana. So he'll have some game action under him for when USC gets out to Piscataway, New Jersey to play the Rutgers Scarlet Knights, 4th game of the year. But for sure, he will not be playing against the state schools. That is for sure. Just to remind everyone, last year, he missed the first game of the year. So it's kind of like a little bit of a deja vu. He did play the following 11 games. And despite playing on a foot, on that foot that has a stress fracture, he still collected 7.5 tackles for loss. He had an interception. He forced a fumble. He was a freshman All-American. Football Writers Association. Yeah. It wasn't just one of, 1,000 freshman teams out there. One of the more elite ones. It was the first one that USC's had since 2012. Leonard Williams, big cat. So this will affect what happens. USC should have no problem handling those first 2 games, the first 3 games for that matter. So we were hoping he was going to be healthy for this season. Remember, he sat out the bowl game. He was having that surgery. He wanted to be ready as quickly as possible. And even back in spring camp, he was, still rehabbing. They kind of slowly eased him into the camp stuff, but for the most part, he stayed away from the contact stuff, which was fine. Skylar Jones during the spring, his position coach said this, quote, "The main thing for Jahkeem going forward is just stay healthy." He's another one that has to take a leadership role in becoming a vocal, positive leader because they look up to him, referring to the team. A lot of the young guys in that room, they came here because of Jahkeem. And so you have guys that are going to follow you, end of quote. So again, you're not going to have him for at least 2 games, minimum, possibly 3 games, but you still want him in there. And to Coach Jones's point, yes, he played last year. He played hurt, but he hasn't played a lot of football overall. And, you want to be that vocal leader, but you also have to lead by example. I'm going to talk about that in the next segment because, again, now we're down 2 starters. Stick around. I got more coming up in the next segment. And I also got some tell you what I saw during the St. John Bosco Bishop Gorman game and why USC has to continue to stack talent for situations like this when you're losing a couple of starters. The game, yeah. Well, since 1986, the game has been creating classic college hats that our fans are proud to wear. This is one by the game right here. Whether you're an alumnus, a current student, season ticket holder, simply just someone who never misses a game. You're just a fan of USC. A great college hat is more than just apparel. It's a way to represent your school wherever you go. This year, the game is celebrating its 40th anniversary by giving fans a chance to save on some of their most iconic college hats. If you've been thinking about replacing an old one, here's the perfect time to do it right now. I mean, tailgating's coming up. We're a week away. We are officially 1 week away. T-minus 7 days. Wow. So we all have our favorite hat. You want to get one for the beginning of the season. And with hundreds of officially licensed college hats to choose from, you'll find the perfect fit for your game day and for every day. So don't miss the chance to celebrate 40 years of the game with 40% off your entire order. Visit thegamecaps.com and use promo code LOCKEDON at checkout. That's thegamecaps.com, promo code LOCKEDON. Celebrate 40 years of the game with 40% off, but do not wait. This anniversary offer will not last forever. So what does it mean? Thanos, man down. Thanos, man down. Well, we also know Killian O'Connor, your USC starting center. Everyone assumed was going to be the starting center going into the season. He's gone for the year. He had a freak injury during fall camp. Required surgery, broken bone. So now we know that Thanos is having a recurring injury. And is that concern, that he's going to have to deal with it for the rest of the year like he did last year. He's a big dude. He's 300 plus pounds, 6 foot, what, 6'5", 6'6". Really haven't listed it out here. 6'5", 300. But, when you look at his physique and the way he just moves naturally, you wonder, what's causing the stress fracture in the foot? Did somebody step on it? We don't know. We weren't given any details. But I do wonder, is this going to be something that's going to be a recurring nagging thing? Not just through this year, for his career. When you're a big dude and you got feet problems, you got problems. And those feet support everything above it. And that's where all that weight is. So yeah, Dr. Kulkin explaining everything, explaining physiology. My point is, hopefully it is minor. Hopefully, Jahkeem Stewart kind of just say, yeah, everyone don't worry about it. That was his message to the fans at Salute to Troy. But now he's going to have to be that vocal leader rather than doing it by example on the field. Being a locker room leader is different. Eventually, the guys are still going to listen to you. Don't get me wrong. But when you're not on the field and again, I'm not throwing shade, but when your teammates start to say, hey, am I going to be able to count on that guy? And this is not about Jahkeem in particular at this point. But when your teammates aren't sure if they can't trust somebody who's considered a great vocal leader to be on the field, sometimes that message will get lost on deaf ears. Not saying that's going to be the case, but Jahkeem is really going to have to focus on his vocal leadership, and then as soon as possible get himself back on the field. And that's what everybody wants. That's what everybody's hoping for. But against San Jose State, Fresno State, Louisiana, Trojans, they are clear favorites. So how is this going to affect the room? In a positive way. Let's look at it from this point of view. The guys in 2025, 2026, there's opportunity. I mean, they were going to play a lot to, regardless. But now, it's everybody moves up a level. So does does he just take advantage of this situation? Floyd Boucard. Jamie Winfield's had a little bit of a slow spring all the way through fall, but he's starting to come along. Is that his spark? Does Jahkeem Abasiri, does he now play inside more after he dropped weight because they wanted him to play outside more? I think the answer is yes. He can handle it. I know people are concerned about, is he too light now to play inside? I think playing at 270, 275, what is Jahkeem at? 290, what do they have him listed? 280. Okay. He's a freak. He's a very athletic dude. He just has to make sure that he can, create pressure, create chaos, bend the offensive line, collapse that pocket if he's going to be playing inside. So, like I said, he's not needed, but he does. The loss of Jahkeem for the first 2, possibly 3 games, it does affect the team's chemistry as well as his own development. So again, next guy up. I mentioned Floyd Boucard. Topui has an opportunity. Jahkeem Abasiri obviously was going to be in the mix. What about Josh Jarrett? Can he stay on the field? He's done a great job during the offseason losing weight. And if he's continuing down that path, and he looks great, by the way. If you've seen any of the pictures of him from camp, he looks fantastic. If he can stay on the field, because of that size that he has, and it's not affecting his stamina anymore, great, fantastic. But this definitely opens the door for the younger guys. Alex Van Sumeren, the transfer from Michigan State, he becomes an even bigger role player. Well, not even a role player, but his role becomes gets bigger. It's magnified. Now you're really counting on him. And I think he's ready to put that beast on his shoulders. Pretty big shoulders. He was brought in to help stop the run. All right. So I'm not trying to be an alarmist here. Nevertheless, I don't think anybody was anticipating this. Nobody wanted this. This is why you have to keep stacking the room. You just keep putting talent in that room, see what happens. Because, unfortunately, injuries. That's what happens. You got to be ready. There's a lot of guys in that room. Opportunity awaits. You got to go in there and do your job so well that when Jahkeem is healthy and ready to play, the coaching staff says, hey, do I want to take him out right now? He's playing so well. Those are good problems to have if you're a coach. All right, I got one more segment to go. I'm going to tell you about, as I mentioned, keep stacking talent. Also, high school football. Boom, it's in session. I went out to Vegas. Bosco, the number 1 team in the country, they were taking on the number 2 team in the country, Bishop Gorman. It's an interesting game. I'll tell you all about it. Locked on USC is brought to you by FanDuel. Baseball fans, if you think you know who's hitting a home run today, FanDuel is giving you a free chance to call your shot with daily dingers. It's easy to play. All you have to do is make your free pick who you think is going to hit a home run in their game. And if you're right, you're going to receive a profit boost that you get to use on your next bet for a chance at even extra more winnings. Best of all, you can make a free pick every day throughout the rest of the Major League Baseball season. Daily Dingers is just another fun way to stay engaged with every day's games, whether you're following your favorite team or just, keeping up on the matchups across the league, whatever floats your boat. Every game has someone capable of going deep, and now you get the chance to make your prediction before that first pitch. I'm a Dodgers fan. You know that. I'm always going to keep my eyes glued when Shohei Ohtani's at bat or when Max Muncy's up there. Shohei for his Godzilla slams, Max Muncy for those bat flips. So if you're ready to play your game today, join all the action at FanDuel.com. That's FanDuel.com to play Daily Dingers and make your free pick on who's hitting a home run. Play ball and swing for the fences on FanDuel, an official partner of Major League Baseball. So again, USC's recruiting these last couple cycles has been fantastic. 2026, the number 1 ranked recruiting class in the country. 2025, top 15. That included guys like Jahkeem Stewart and Floyd Boucard. Now it's their guys in 2026. It's their opportunity. We know what USC has so far in their 2027 class. It's light because they brought in 34 guys, 35 guys, whatever that number is in 2026. Malik Brooks was supposed to be part of that class. Unfortunately, he's got to, work on a few things. Still committed to USC, but he was another interior defensive lineman. So right now in 2027, we have 14 commitments, I believe, 15. You guys can correct me in the comments. We know that they have room for 2-3 more, maybe, depending on what's available, what's out there. Does it meet their needs? But in 2027, you've got Topui Halamaka. He is a, edge guy, possibly, maybe slides inside, plays 3 technique, but he looks like one of the top edges. Here's his older brother. Remember Junior at Notre Dame? Well, look, if you've been following what's going on with these judges, granting a temporary restraining order, giving the 2022 class their 5th year of eligibility, if you still have a year available, his brother Junior has a year and is in the transfer portal. I'm not sure if USC is going to bring him in this late in the process. In fact, I don't think it's going to happen. I mean, school has already started. And you got that learning curve with football. You got to come in, get yourself acclimated. Again, I'm never going to say never, but from what I've heard sources say, probably not. So you got Tolo. He's coming in the 2027 class. And you got Isaiah Vandermeid, Lenny's kid, plays there at Santa Margarita. He's an interior defensive lineman. And then you also have Mekhi Brown, the 5-star, the edge from Connecticut. But those are your 3 defensive linemen. That's it. I have a feeling the transfer portal is going to be active for USC. when that thing opens up in the winter. Keep in mind, just want to remind everybody, that 2026 class, stacked. So that is a positive. There are plenty of guys in that, in that defensive line room that are going to get their opportunities. Just kind of looking down here. I mentioned Jamal Jarrett. Obviously, he's not a freshman, but who else do you got? I'm just babbling. Defensive line. Probably just go here with higher numbers. Braden Jones. Well, they ramp him up a little bit. They have enough guys, and then once they get Jahkeem Stewart back, ready to play, assuming game 3, everything should be fine. They have plenty of dudes in that room. You don't want to start losing guys too early. We already lost Killian O'Connor, so we'll see what happens. But yeah, Jake Johnson, another guy. Will he get an opportunity? I mean, he will in these first few games. So this is where they have to impress their coaches. If you're looking ahead to the future, I don't know what USC is going to offer in 2028 as far as defensive linemen, defensive tackles. I know in 2029, California is loaded with defensive linemen. And now, the way things are working in college athletics, do they reclassify for 2028? So something to keep an eye on. I mentioned I was in Las Vegas over the weekend. I got out there to watch Bosco, whoever we thought was just going to be able to take care of Bishop Gorman. Bosco was going to lean into their size, offensive line. Well, yeah, the best laid plans, as they say, right? Path to hell is paved with good intentions. Elisha Mueller, he's being held out. CIF has stuck their nose into a custody battle issue. So starting left tackle for Bosco wasn't able to play. From what I'm hearing, they're making him sit out the first 5 games. Bosco was also without their starting running back, who was hurt. And then they lost their best wide receiver during the game with an Achilles, so he's probably going to be out for the rest of the year. Somebody who did look good, USC commit 2027, linebacker Josiah Poyer, middle linebacker. Dude is fast. I mean, sideline to sideline fast, and he brings bad intentions when he hits you. Unfortunately for Bosco, they showed up to start the second half of the game. They were down 21-0 at halftime. I literally told Scott Schrader, who I was out there with, if Bosco's down at 28-0 at halftime, I'm making a hard decision, and I'm walking back to where I was staying because it was ugly. I think Bosco got their first down in the second quarter, and that was their only first down of the half. Maybe they got a second one. Doesn't matter. They could not do anything on offense. Defensively, they were lost. I mean, missing assignments. And I don't want to take anything away from Gorman. That team is good. And they have speed to burn. And I think that's what got the best of Bosco. But to their credit, Coach Negro, I mean, he's not going to let his team fold just because they're down 21-0 and, they're having some bad luck with injuries and whatnot. It was their first game of the season. And they're not going to use the heat as an excuse. And it wasn't that bad, to be honest with you. I stood on the field the whole game. Nevertheless, they came out in the second half, had the ball, took it downfield, scored a touchdown. Great start, 21-7. Eventually, they tied the game up at 28-28. And I believe it was DJ Tubbs who had the punt return for a touchdown. Number 2 or number 5, one of those 2 players. Regardless, the game was tied at 28. And you're thinking, at this point, Bosco is just going to eventually pull this thing out. They ended up losing the game 38-28. Gorman kicked I want to say it was a 49-yard field goal with about 2.5 minutes left to go. That kind of sealed the game. Bosco was down 7 at that time. They got the defensive stop, but Gorman always has a great kicker, and he nailed it from 49 yards, and it would have been good from probably 59 yards. I mean, straight down the middle. And at that point, you're down 10 with 2 minutes to go, under 2 minutes, whatever. That was it. Story told. So valiant effort. I think Bosco is going to be fine. They just got to kind of get healthy, get their starting left tackle back. You know, next man up type of situation. Nevertheless, high school football's back. USC football is back next week, 7 days. I'll be back with another episode tomorrow. That's what we do around here. We're in season. So hit that bell notification. Make sure you are subscribed. Keep smashing that thumbs up because you like what you're hearing. And then when you're done making Locked On USC part of the Locked On Network, your first listen every single day, and you're watching the show on YouTube every single day, you're then going to get over there to wersc.com. Take advantage of our subscription special, 75% off, $30 for the entire year. Till the next episode, everyone, you know what to do. And Jahkeem Stewart, fight on, get healthy. We need you, brother. Your team needs you. The fans want to see you play.